I wrote this poem a few weeks ago, and I'd like to ask everyone here and on Zoom to please close your eyes. If the world was blind, who would you impress? If physical beauty was something no one could possess, would you be beautiful? Would you fit the standard? Our world would change, and those questions couldn't be answered. Your kindness, heart, and mind would carry the weight. The beauty standard would be something we would narrate. Live your days pretending that the world is blind, and you will see mankind be redefined. You may open your eyes. Hi, I'm Avery Buckley, and I'm lucky enough to be this year's senior school prefect. I've been at Avery since grade 7 and seen so many different chapel speeches that it honestly still hasn't hit me that I'm presenting my very own chapel speech right now in this very moment. But I have your attention for around 10 minutes, and so I want to make it worthwhile. I thought about that concept of if the world was blind a couple weeks ago, and it really stuck with me. It's no doubt we live in a very physical, superficial society, and so it's interesting to imagine that if nothing physical mattered, what would determine if a person is beautiful or not? After loving and living with this idea engraved into my head, it started to change the way I would go about my day. When we're walking down the street, we all have to admit, we will see someone and think, wow, that person's attractive. Before we even know anything about the type of human being they are deemed beautiful in our eyes. And so I've been challenging myself, and try to challenge yourself to look deeper, to not deem someone attractive just from their appearance, because at the end of the day, beauty is so much more than that. Some of you may know I boarded at the National Ballet School of Canada when I was 11 for a year. I wish that I could place each and every one of you into the environment and culture I was immersed into that year, because it's pretty hard to put into words. The ballet world is almost indescribable unless you've lived in it. In my first audition, before I got accepted for the full school year, I was in a room with 20 girls. And the very first thing they asked us to do was to simply stand with our feet together and our hands on our shoulders for 30 seconds facing front, and then side, and then back. This table of 10 judges were writing notes and completely assessing every square inch of my body as I stood still, staring back in silence. I remember thinking to myself, I hope I fit what they're looking for. I hope I have that ballerina body. Each day for 4 hours, I was in a room where all the walls were mirrors, wearing the tightest leotard possible, having my hair slicked back off my face, looking around at my friends who were looking back at me. When I would step into this ballet studio at the National, it was pure competition. I love a good competition, but when there's 50 girls fighting for one lead spot, stuff can get pretty ugly. There's good and bad in every situation and every person, so I could stand here and tell you the craziest stories from that year, but instead, I want to share what I actually gained, and hopefully it can impact you. Ballet school, I would say, is probably the epitome of the stress and weight people put on appearance, and that little 11-year-old Avery really got her eyes opened wide. And reflecting back on that time, I realized that I had already discovered there are things we can and cannot change. We can change how we treat people, how hard we work, what we do with our days, the people we surround ourselves with, the goals we choose to chase, and the overall person that we are. What we can't change is the eye color we have, our height, our skin color, our body shape, what people think of us. And so what I came to the conclusion of during that period is, why do we waste our time doting over these unchangeable factors? Why wouldn't we spend our time focusing on the things we can control and, in result, become the most beautiful version of ourselves? And when I say the word beautiful, I'm not talking about the physical aspects. I'm talking about the deeper things, what's inside. I'm talking about wanting and aspiring to be a good person. So if you can put in your pocket one small thing to remember, it should be this: accept what you can't change and change what you can't accept. Accept what you can't change and change what you can't accept. I ended up being able to experience the most memorable year of my life. And the things I learned, the people I met, and the pure independence and confidence I gained is something I would never trade. Sometimes the best gifts don't come tied in a bow, and I'm sure many of you have experienced these types of gifts before. I chose to mark myself as my biggest competition, and those mirrors on the studio walls turned from being scary into a tool for my personal growth and success. By the way, I didn't end up getting the lead role, but at that point in the year, I was okay with that, and I was happy for my best friend who actually did it. I've been lucky enough to see so much beauty in my life. Watching my older sister release her first album and the pride her smile carried, traveling to Thailand, and living amongst one of the most beautiful cultures I've ever been able to experience for 2 weeks. Listening to the excitement in my Nana's voice as she tells me her crazy life stories, living under the same roof as my parents and seeing their undying love every single day. And my papa. Oh, Papa, he is truly the most effortlessly beautiful person in my life. Is he an Instagram model with millions of followers? No, he doesn't even have Instagram, but that doesn't matter because that doesn't change his beauty to me. Take a moment right now to actually think about the beautiful people in your life or the beautiful things you've experienced. I can guarantee that all of you just thought of different people or different moments, and that just goes to show that beauty is completely in the eyes of the beholder. Beauty comes in so many different forms, and that's the most important thing to realize. So if you're ever in a room for photos or a video, or you're at an event trying to capture a moment, instead of worrying about the exterior lighting, let your interior light shine through. Don't concern yourself with the lighting in the room, be the light in the room. Recently, I've thought of a really cool analogy I'd like to share. Think of yourself right now. When you came out of the womb, you were almost like a blank canvas. We were all different shapes, maybe different colors, but essentially all just simple blank canvases. What you choose to make your canvas into and the beautiful artwork it can become is purely up to you. So instead of tearing apart what is essentially our foundation, why wouldn't we learn to love what we were given and just work on the little things we can add to make it an even better final art piece? So at the end of it all, when your canvas is finished and hung on a wall, other people look at it in awe of the beauty they see and the stories to be told. More importantly than other people being proud of it is you. You being proud of who you are, how you lived your life, and the canvas that you created. And now imagine all of our pieces of art hung up beside one another in a gallery. The painting beside yours might look completely different and have aspects that you don't, and that's okay, because each piece brings its own unique story, but at the same time, complements each other's, making up the beauty this world has. So take the step and make the decision to add to your story. Your canvas already has many strokes of paint upon it. It is up to you on what texture, what color, and what distinct aspect you want to add or explore. Don't get hung up on mistakes because that will simply add a layer. Have fun with it. Beauty has no limits. It's your canvas and your paintbrush. I'd like to end off how I began with one of my poems. Every day we have a choice. And every day you decide how you will use your voice. I challenge you to start your day and paint a smile on your face. Don't let one moment of your amazing life go to waste. Be happy with what you were given, but focus on what you can add. Don't worry about the things you wish that you had. You are here and you are the person you are for a reason. So let that person bloom like the changes of a season. It's no doubt that some days will be harder than others, with social media and all those magazine covers, but choose to turn the page and find the good. At the end, don't have a long list of I could, I should, I would. Do what you want and be proud each step you take. There's no point to wait. Today's the day you can choose to be great. So close your eyes and appreciate the beauty that you carry, because the word beautiful doesn't belong in the dictionary. Thank you, and stay classy, Appleby. Please rise and sing the hymn, Amazing Grace.